We are live. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you this morning. We are on a little bit of a
Morning.
different platform. You can probably see we are using StreamYard that we haven't used before. So we hope that it's all working okay. And we won't be able to see your comments unless you give StreamYard your permission to know who you are. So I think there's a little link or a button that you can press. So it'd be really great if you could do that so we can connect with you. How are you this morning, Sarah?
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. I'm in a slightly different surroundings. I've got some work being done in my house, so I've had to evacuate, and I'm in this tiny little granary by the sea, and I've got this real log fire going, a morning fire. So I'm absolutely loving it. How are
Looks
you?
amazing. I'm doing really good, thank you, this morning. Just trying to think. I've done some African dancing this morning, and a little bit of a meditation, connecting with my guides, and had a celery juice. So actually, all round, that's a pretty good morning, isn't it? I'm feeling good
That's
as
a
well, thank you.
good morning ritual. So we are
Yeah.
here today. You've got myself, Sarah, and you've got Hannah, my sister, and we are talking about a really fantastic, I love this topic, which is about the masculine and feminine energies within the world, within ourselves. And this isn't about gender. This is something completely different. We've all got masculine and feminine energies within us. And this energy is attached to certain activities as well. And I'd like to just start by
Mm.
saying that they are equal opposites. They're both equally important. They complement each other
Mm.
beautifully. But a lot of us are out of balance with these energies. And in
Mm.
fact, the world itself is a little bit out of balance, isn't it, Hannah?
Yeah, they teach us in traditional Chinese medicine, which I refer to a lot to throughout my nutrition practice, that they say anytime you have any dis-ease in the body or discomfort, there's always an imbalance between the yin and the yang energies. If they're in balance, then you're healthy and well, and it's the same for the planet as well.
Mm. So just to kind of give a little bit of context, the masculine and feminine energies, we're talking about equal opposites. So it's like, to exist, we need day and we need night. We need rest and we need action. And that's like the catabolic versus the anabolic energy. We
Mm.
need men and we need women. We need structure, but we also need playtime and creativity. So we're going to talk a little bit
Mm-hmm.
about what they are today. We're going to talk about how they might manifest in your body or in your mind if they are out of balance. And we'll talk about how to bring them back into balance in a really nice way, in a way that you'll enjoy. And I think we'll kick things off then.
Brilliant.
So we've got masculine and feminine energy represented in the world, as we said. So we've got, for example, we'll start on a broad scale. We've got the seasons, haven't we? We've got two masculine and two feminine seasons,
Yeah.
and it's the autumn and the springtime, which are, well, could you guess? They
Yeah.
are,
Put in the comments. Is it masculine
yeah.
or is it feminine?
So they
Just give
are,
people a minute. We can't see the comments yet.
yeah. Let us know. So yeah, you've got the autumn and the spring as one type, then you've got the summer and the winter as the other. And it's the autumn and the spring, which are the masculine seasons. So there are lots of activity and buzz happening, whether it's, the closing down of the season or the opening up. Just if you look out at nature, if you look at the animals, the birds, they're waking up or they're starting to get to sleep. You're looking at the plant life, it's starting to spring up, or you're starting to harvest it. So we should be in the doing mode. We should be active. We should be either doing that spring clean and waking up, or we should be like getting ready to close things down, to hunker down for the winter.
We should be in the doing
Whereas
mode. We should be active. Oh, sorry. I was
oh,
making
I
sure
can
it was
hear
on
my
Facebook.
voice.
Get ready to close things. Hold on,
No,
hold
I
on.
can hear their own voice. Thanks. So then we've got the winter and the summer. So I think winter's quite more obviously a feminine energy because it's about going within, being introverted, resting the body, resting the world. And the summer, which might have a bit more of a energetic feel about it, but it's actually about downing tools and going out and having fun. You've done your hard
Yeah.
work and you're feeling good, and you can go out and play and be creative and have no aim, but just enjoy life.
Yeah, or that it's too hot and you just want to like relax and chill out because it's too hot to do anything. Hoping, here's hoping.
Often the case. Yeah, we all know if we push against that, so if we try and work really, really hard on a really hot summer's day, what happens? We feel completely depleted, don't we? And we have to go and lie down for a couple of hours to restore our energy. So that's kind of the perfect example of going against nature, or not using nature as your cue to live a life in balance, to live an optimum healthy life.
Yeah.
So what other ways could be represented within the masculine and feminine that we could speak about? So
so
like,
sorry, Sarah.
I was going to say, you're going to talk about food, weren't you?
Oh, it was, but let me just go through a few more of them first. So masculine is like being in your logic, or like stability, structure, determination, like being very reliable. And feminine is more, it's like more flowing, it's like sensual, intuitive, like caring, but also emotional and a bit chaotic as well. Related to food, it's kind of like the masculine would be, I'm on a diet, I'm like doing HIIT 3 times a week, I'm measuring myself, I want like this result in this amount of time. And so like more tracking, I would say. And the feminine is more, I'm going to do intuitive eating, and what does my body really need today? And I want to nourish myself using like all of these really healthy foods that are really going to care for this beautiful vessel of mine. So there's those 2 different ways. And actually, I think it's really hard. I think a lot of women are in their feminine with food in a more unhealthy way, kind of like emotional eating, because we haven't connected with the deep inner version of ourselves, where we can really listen to what our body actually needs. Like, it's not really telling us that it wants a crunchy bar most of the time. It might be telling us it might be telling us, for example, that it wants like a nice nourishing soup, for example, to give us lots of nutrients. Or we might want our energy to be lifted, we might like want a green juice, but we haven't really educated our taste buds to actually be used to those kind of foods all of the time. But yeah, those 2 different energies related to food as well. And I think that's why a lot of women never really get on with the whole diet culture of eat this food at this time on these days and work out for this amount of time. And it just feels like we do it for a few days and then we kind of, it doesn't feel good for us. So we feel like we want to give up, and then we feel like a failure, but it was never really suited to women in the first place. It would be more finding, yes, it would be more finding, like you have, Sarah, and I have as well, like finding something you adore, like yoga, and being devoted to that practice and wanting to go along. Like, I'm choosing to do this. I feel so amazing when I do this. And I'm not having to put it, it's not an exercise that I'm not enjoying to turn up to. I actually feel better when I do it. Or it might be a swim in the sea or a walk out in nature.
And what Hannah and I was discussing, and it has become very apparent that we seem to be in this masculine era on the planet. We're very goal orientated, and I'm not saying it's a negative thing, because look at the progress that we've had. The world has come so far. Who'd have thought that we could be speaking through a screen and communicating from different sides of the planet, and somebody had to have a goal and a vision and apply logic and structure to get there. So we have to celebrate that masculine energy, absolutely. But it has become a little bit too dominant. So what was we saying before? Oh, that's right, we're talking about climbing a mountain. So you've got this goal, but because you're so focused on the end result, you don't enjoy the journey at all. You don't stop and enjoy the view, or you don't connect with your fellow climbers. It's all a competition to get to the top, take the picture and race back down again. And you miss out on the enjoyment and pleasure of life. And I can relate to that. I'm sure you can as well, Hannah, where we don't stop and celebrate for long enough, or feel into that gratitude and be like, wow, I accomplished that. It was like, I didn't do it in the time I wanted to do it in, and I'm not good enough,
Yeah, when you don't celebrate the small milestones, it can actually stop you getting to the big milestones, because life just feels like a drag. And so you actually do have to pause along the way, like on the way up to the mountain, and be like, I'm a fifth of the way. Yeah, hey, let's keep going. We've done amazing, to encourage yourself. But we'd love to know from you, if you're watching live with us. I saw that there's a few people live, and hello to anyone who's watching the replay as well. let us know if you feel like you've got a good balance between your masculine and feminine energies, or do you feel like you're more in one or the other? I know for me personally that I really feel that my almost chronic fatigue, I had adrenal fatigue, was by being in my masculine too much. So never slowing down, never valuing slowing down, like feeling lazy if I was to slow down or take time
Feeling
off, always
guilty,
to be
isn't
doing
it?
guilty, yeah, always to have excuse me, I've got something in my throat, a challenge. So I've done the marathon once, and I've done the London to Brighton, and different challenges like that I throw myself into, and just pushing all the time. Like, for example, with my yoga, I would go to Bikram yoga classes. So again, I'd be really pushing myself, and in a way depleting myself, because I didn't really have the nutrients in the first place. And as you know, if you've ever done Bikram, I'm sure you have, Sarah, you kind of sweat profusely for an hour and a half, right? And so if you were depleted before you went in, you're definitely going to be depleted when you come out. You know, sometimes there's people who are close to almost fainting in those classes because the heat is just too much for them, and we're really not used to it in this country, are we?
No.
But I remember when I first started studying nutrition, they could see quite clearly that I was too much of a masculine. They said to me, like, don't always wear structured clothes, for example. You know, like if you wore a suit to work, or I used to really love like jackets, you know, smart jackets. And I've made a conscious effort to move away from, lucky it's lockdown and it's kind of flowed with it. But, you know, like belts and jeans and jackets and shirts with collars, you know, all very structured. And actually that's like the male body, very straight lines, very strong, right? And the feminine body's got like lots of curves, and these are the kind of clothes, if we want to be in our feminine, we need to be in these like nice loose, what I've got on today, clothing. I'm thinking about a dress that I've got with big billowing sleeves, and when I wear it I just feel like prancing about the place, because I feel like I'm really in my feminine. So this is another way that you can be more in your masculine if you need to, or more in your feminine. Simply just have a look at the kind of clothes that you're wearing. What kind of clothes do you feel good in, Sarah?
I'd have to say the same as you. So I used to be in a leadership role in my old job, and I'd always be in stilettos and a very tight pencil skirt. And then when I went to work out, you know, it would be the same again. And there was almost this, you know, there's almost this lazy feeling of wearing softer clothes as well, which is, you know, very much, it's, you know, they say that it's a mindset thing with everything, isn't it? And even when I went out, you know, it would be tight jeans, skinny jeans and things like that. And I've invested in a couple of long flowy dresses recently, which is interesting, because I think we were having a conversation, our partners both said, oh, I actually prefer you know, when I can see your legs, or when you're not wearing a long flowy dress. So obviously that is more of a masculine structured way of dressing, but we have to dress in a way that's purely for comfort as well, I think, on occasion.
That white dress that I've got, and I tried it on, and my husband went, it's all right. I went, I don't care. I absolutely love it, and I feel amazing in it. I feel like a goddess, so I'm going to wear it anyway.
So it's tuning in to even down to the way that we dress, as well as the activities that we're doing, and our thoughts as well. I don't know if he knows he's live on camera. Anyway, so what we'd like to speak to a little bit more is how to bring things back into balance. Did we want to speak a little bit about more using, we spoke about the seasons, but using food in that way as well?
Well, so in the Holistic Health Circle, which is our monthly membership for women who really want to move from anxious to aligned, I think that we use a lot of feminine tools. And like Sarah and I have both said, it's not about being in the feminine all the time. That is not the right answer, but it is. I mean, when we work with women, we see that women are in their masculine a lot. So it is about bringing that balance back a little bit more. And so in the Holistic Health Circle, we talk about actually aligning your food with the seasons, so having a look at what is the right kind of food that we should be, not the right food, the food that's actually seasonal for winter, and now we're moving into spring. What is the food that is seasonal for spring? And so when you eat in line with the seasons, you're actually going through this natural flow of the feminine and the masculine energies anyway. You know, some food grows up, which is more energetic. Some food grows down, which is more grounding. So actually just following the seasons, and that food will be more nutritious. It'll be more local. There'll be less air miles. It's often cheaper as well. So all of those wonderful benefits, I would say that actually eating along with the seasons is going to put you in that lovely balance of the masculine and the feminine, and perhaps choosing to tune in a little bit more to things like your intuition, listening to your gut instinct around, you know, sometimes I work with someone and they say like, oh, I know that I feel bloated every time that I have wheat, but I guess it's just convenient to carry on having it. And so it's really that push, isn't it? Like, I've got to get stuff done. I'm going to be in a rush and it's going to be quicker for me to have like a bread, even though I think it's not going to make me feel very good. But the feminine would be like, well, I'm going to slow down. I'm going to tune in. And actually, I had a lady who sent me a message yesterday who I'm working with, and she said, what did she say now? I'm trying to remember. I think she said she had a bagel because she's not had any wheat for a few weeks. That was like, let's say 1 o'clock, and 3 o'clock, it still felt like she had a stone in her stomach, right?
Wow.
And the reason that she's realized this is because she's slowed down and tuned in. So that's like using that feminine energy, tuning into that gut instinct, that intuition, like, does this feel good for me? Actually, this is like really sapping my energy, and this is not making me feel good for an afternoon. So if I'm really tuning into that and realizing that, why would I want to keep on doing it? So I think that that's a lovely way to tune more into your masculine and feminine related to food. What were you going to say, Sarah?
Yeah, I was going to say, well, we were talking about Earth kind of being in its masculine for a long period of time and this unequal shift in male energy. But with lockdown and all of the things that happened with that, we were forced. Well, it's like Mother Nature's way of saying, no, you're going to slow down and you're going to have to go within and retreat. And it's only when you go slower and quieter that you can tune in, isn't it? And connect with that intuition. And in fact, like what you were saying, people were actually preparing more meals and probably eating more seasonally, because it might have been more difficult, especially with Brexit, to get things from overseas. So in a way, we're being forced to. Mother Nature's putting things right again.
Yeah.
And you may have heard us speak about cacao before, and Hannah and I were saying like we love coffee, and in fact, you know, most people use coffee as a motivator and a stimulator, you know, in the morning to get your things done, which it is brilliant, but it's depleting, isn't it, in the long run.
Yeah.
Whereas cacao is a natural energizer with less caffeine in it. Opens up the heart chakra and it allows you to tap into your creativity, and it's very bonding and connecting as well. So if you're, even for you know, a group of guys in the workplace, if they're sharing a cup of cacao and they can work together on a project in their feminine energy, so rather than being competitive with each other, they're going to be able to open up dialogues that are creative.
Collaboration, and like all moving towards this goal together and using the strengths within the team to reach that collaborative goal, rather than like being more individual and more competitive to reach the goal, but seem like you're like the shining light. So yeah, it brings people together.
So I think that's a big one, using the food, isn't it, to balance your energies out.
Definitely. And there's lots of other things that you can do as well. So let's have a little chat about some of the things that you could do to become more in your feminine. Yeah, so again, let us know in the comments. I don't know if anyone's commented yet because we're using this new platform. We can't quite tell, but let us know if you feel like you're more in your masculine or more in your feminine. But to embrace your feminine a little bit more, so something I've definitely got into over the past couple of years is embracing my spiritual side. So things like sage and incense and crystals, and, you know, being mystical and mysterious and tuning in to like tarot cards and all of that kind of thing. I really feel that's helped me be in my feminine. It's like playful and curious. Do you feel like that's something into more stepping into your feminine, Sarah?
Sorry, I lost a little bit of connectivity, but yeah, I think like you, I was very much in my masculine, and that's when I got out of touch with nature. And that's, I used to tune into astrology and things like that, and when I was very much my masculine, I was like, it's all very ridiculous. I don't know how you can predict your future using the stars. But now I've set back into balance and tuned into more of my feminine. I'm like, well, how can it not? You know, the moon affects the tides. How can it not affect us as well? We're part of nature. We're part of the planet as well. So, you know, when you open up your heart and you find this balance, you can use logic as well as intuition in a balanced way.
Yeah.
But in terms of the things that we practice on a regular basis, obviously Hannah spoke to nutrition, but with yoga, for example, in the East, it's very much very much a masculine activity. In the West, it seems to be more women that connect with it in yoga classes, or women talking about it, or, you know, clothing designed for women in the yoga world. But actually, hatha yoga, which is one of the schools of yoga, means sun moon, which means masculine feminine. The sun is masculine energy, the moon is feminine energy, or day night rather. So we teach 2 yoga classes, live yoga classes a week within the Holistic Health Circle. One of them's hatha, which is a balancing energy. It's yin and yang, it's movement and flowing, and it's stillness and rest and holding postures. So we've got that equal balancing energy, but because of most of us, especially us, experiencing feelings of anxiety, are too much in the sympathetic nervous system, which is the masculine side of our nervous system. We also give you a Sunday chill and restore yoga class, because we need to spend a little bit longer calming and soothing the nervous system. So we've got our 2 types of yoga there. But I mean, I do still, when I'm in the middle of summer, when my energy is very high, I do perhaps go and do something a bit more yang and highly energizing. So it's not to say not to ever do those things, but to tune in and recognize what you are ready for.
I think this is really important when I work with women who are exhausted as well. It's really important not to keep pushing yourself when you're already exhausted. So I speak to women who are just like, I can't get out of bed in the morning, I'm tired all day long. And then like I push myself to go for a run in the evening. And, you know, when I hear that, I'm like, no, just at the moment, whilst your energy is low, we don't want to be in our masculine all the time, like pushing like that, because we become more and more depleted over time. So this is really, really important to slow down, to do much, much more gentle exercise. And it might be as simple as just walking, or, you know, like Sarah said, the yin yoga. But when you are more in balance and your body's more in balance, then yes, of course, there's going to be times when we want to get like hot and sweaty, isn't there? Like that can really give us a lot of motivation, and we can feel like really strong when we work out like that, right? But there's a time and a place for it. Let's talk about breath work, Sarah, because I was thinking about this and whether, you know, breath work is masculine or feminine. It made me think about Wim Hof and how masculine he is. If you've heard of Wim Hof, let us know. And he teaches these like really, the ice warrior, the Iceman, he's climbed mountains in his pants, I think, and he swims underneath the icy sea, underneath the icy water. And what he does is these long retentions of holding the breath for minutes upon minutes. And again, I think that if your body is not in balance, that for women is when we can just look, it's a man who's teaching it, right? So that's not to say it's wrong or that we can't do it, but it might mean that it's not always right for us. So tell us the kind of like breath work that you teach, Sarah.
Well, first of all, I'd just say with the breath work, so if we think about the breath, how do we take breath in? We take breath in through the nose. Breath should come in through the nose, not the mouth. There are certain exclusions to that. But we actually have 2 nostrils for a reason. We've got our sun channel and a moon channel. And they're represented to the masculine and feminine energies within us. And if we are healthy, we'll be switching between a right dominance or a sun dominance and a left dominance nostril, a feminine. And we should be weaving about every 90 minutes to 120 minutes to be dominant on one side. And that's nature's way of saying, okay, for the next 2 hours, you can be active and you can be doing and you can be achieving. And then you need to rest and digest and heal. Nice. So first of all, we can recognize, we can use our nostrils to find out what we should be doing. So for example, if I'm if it's bedtime and I'm feeling very energy, I'll just close the nostril, exhale, and then check the other side. So you can find out if you're near bedtime, if you're in your sun channel, then your nervous system's too hyper, and you can use your breath to switch the dominance.
Yeah.
So there are stimulating breath works like breath of fire. So when you wake up in the morning, you might want to be doing these short, sharp exhales to bring your energy up, your inner fire, to build it. And in the evening, you can do your cooling breath works, like they call it the moon channel breath, where you're just exhaling out of your left nostril. So you can actually use the breath to manipulate your nervous system or bring it back into balance. But most of the time, what we want to be ensuring is every day we connect with belly breathing, diaphragmatic breathing, because we've got our vagus nerve running from the base of our brain down to our digestive organs. And most of us are, our vagus nerve it's got poor tone, they say, don't they? It's we're not doing enough relaxation activities to have good vagal tone, and belly breathing alone will give you good vagal tone. So I would say, belly breathing is key, which we do every single month within the Holistic Health Circle. I'll give you a guided session of that, and then we look at different breaths to create different energies within the body.
Yeah, so good. Thank you for sharing that. And I was watching a TV program last night. I can't remember exactly what it was called, but it was about people who moved to a more natural way of living. And these people bought this land, and then they wasn't allowed to be on the land because it was meant for agricultural use, and they were living there, right? So they had to get off the land, but they decided they wanted to fight against it. And this fight went on for a long time. And in the end, the woman said, like, we need to leave. But the man wanted to stay and fight, but they could have ended up in jail, and they had kids, right? And so they ended up leaving. And what happened was, by stroke of luck, I think the universe provided for them, some laws changed, and they already had a disused building on the land. So they was allowed to rebuild that and move back in. So when I was watching that program last night, it was making me think that is the masculine energy. The masculine energy is to push and fight. And sometimes we need that. But sometimes we also need to know when not to fight and when to step back. And so potentially, if they'd carried on with what the husband wanted to do, they would have carried on the fight, and they may have lost, and they could have ended up, losing their children, albeit probably temporarily. But in that moment, they decided to go with the feminine energy, which was to not to fight, to do the opposite, to surrender. And actually that trust and listening to that intuition meant that everything worked out okay in the end anyway. So I thought that was a lovely example of the masculine and the feminine energies, and how sometimes with the feminine energy, it is really hard to trust, to know that things are going to work out okay. But what I love about this is, if you think back to most examples, not every example, but most examples in your life, things do normally work out okay in the end, don't they? And I'm sure we've all got, as women, we've all got an example of when we didn't listen to our gut instinct and it didn't work out that well. Like we said, I knew that was going to happen. Like, I should have listened to my gut instinct. So again, let us know. Thanks to Lynn and Sam for the comments there. Let us know if you had those examples where you had this gut instinct and you didn't listen to it because you didn't trust it. Sam saying,
because your head is like masculine, isn't it? Your mind,
that's the thinking, like the logical.
But your gut, your belly is feminine.
Yeah, and it does.
But we need to tune into both, absolutely both.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And I think for us overall, because we both feel that for probably a large portion of our life that we've stepped into our masculine a little bit too much. And like Sarah said, it can be great because you get shit done, right? That is how we move forward in life. That is how we hit our goals. But again, we're going to keep coming back to this word balance. We do need this balance. And, there can be a lot of conflict in the home, if there's too much like masculine energy and there isn't that nice balance. And I can definitely relate to that my husband and I used to have a lot more conflict and arguments than what we ever do now. And Sam says, I went for a job that didn't feel right. It turned out it wasn't. Absolutely. Thank you, Sam, for sharing that with us. And now I understand more about the masculine and feminine energies. There just isn't that conflict anymore. We just get on so much better. It's lovely stepping into that. So in the Holistic Health Circle, we actually help you step into this feminine energy more, not because you need more of it, not because it's right to have more of it, but to help you have that balance, because that's what we commonly see, that in this kind of masculine world. And even if we just look at buildings, how buildings are built, right? They're all square, and all the roads. There's not many curves. There's not much flow, is there? Whereas if you look out in nature and you're looking at maybe like lakes and rivers and ponds and trees and all of that kind of thing, there's quite a lot of circles, isn't there? There's quite a lot of
just the
flow.
cyclical living itself is circle, and that's Mother Nature, isn't it?
Yes. And so a lot of the women that we work with, particularly if they're suffering from anxiety or very fatigued or stressed, overwhelmed, it's often that we're going against the grain, that we're not really listening to what our body really wants or needs. We're not tuning into that intuition or trust in it. And so we like to help you step into your feminine a little bit more. And we was chatting just before we come live to say, we do obviously keep that balance still. So we had a lovely challenge last month in February, which was great to see in the Holistic Health Circle, which was we asked people to make a video and share their passions. And so passion is feminine. It's like, what do you love? What's the pleasure in life? But the masculine was like, step outside of your comfort zone and make a video. And speak up. Yeah, speak up. Don't, you want to be heard. You know, you want people to know about your passions and share out knowledge and wisdom as well, because, you know, so many of us who are here in this free group and who are in our circle as well have a lot of wisdom and a lot of passion that we want to hear about and don't always hear about. So yeah, we definitely set challenges which use both energies, and a bit like the moon ceremonies, you do have to put it in your diary, which is masculine, like get it in the diary so you can commit to it. That's masculine. But actually the feminine is like tuning into the energy of the moon. The moon is the feminine energy, and using that in your life as well. So I would say that the Holistic Health Circle is helping you step into your feminine a bit more and use that trust and that intuition and tune into pleasure and slowing down. Would you agree with that, Sarah?
Yeah, and it is a wellness membership for women, and the reason it's aimed for women is because of the moon ceremonies, the moon rituals that we do where we gather on a new and a full moon. And the reason for that, being around women on a full moon actually helps to balance your own moon cycle, the hormones that women have that men will have, you know, in smaller quantities. We actually need to be with more women to balance these energies, so they all tie in beautifully. It's just aligning yourself to live in tune with nature, which will make life so much easier. Less strain on the environment, less strain on our body. And it allows us to balance the body, so from that state of balance we can live a really happy, healthy and joy-filled life.
Yeah, and I think that's a great way. You mentioned there about nature. I think that's a great way to step into your feminine a little bit more. Is, and we talk about this a lot, spending time in nature every single day. It's like really at least an hour a day, I'd say. And if you can't do that long, let it be 5 minutes, let it be 10 minutes. But I would say you want to be in for an hour, and that is Mother Earth. You know, she's here to look after us and to bring a little bit of balance back into our lives as well. So thank you for all the comments, Sarah. You're so lovely. Lynn says, totally agree, Hannah. I find Wim Hof quite challenging. I find gentle and slow breathing and linking into your cells in your body with goodness really help. Yeah, so Wim Hof teaches about, what do you call the cold therapy, Sarah?
Cryotherapy.
Cryotherapy. So he talks about like jumping into ice, doesn't he, and going under freezing cold showers. And Sarah and I were discussing this recently and saying, you know, someone shared with us they do have cold showers. They've got a bath and shower near each other. They jump in the cold shower and then they go back in the bath and then cold shower in the bath. Or you could go hot and cold. I talk about that a lot, the hot and the cold showers. Or Sarah asked me if I fancied a swim in the sea, and I said, oh, if there's a sauna to go in on the beach afterwards. Yes, I will. And Sarah said there is a sauna on the beach, where it's not open at the moment, but hopefully it won't be too long now. But yes, so, you know, again, if your hormones aren't balanced, if you're not feeling that great, you don't want to be having like shocking yourself with that cold therapy. Really, that's quite harsh, that's quite masculine. We want to maybe be building up to that, or maybe splashing our wrists or our ankles with the cold water first, and then maybe do have like, your face, or maybe a warm towel ready for you afterwards to warm back in, rather than letting like the coldness get to your bones. That doesn't sound appealing to me at all. Sam says, love going for a walk. There's meant to be a circle of trees that were planted near us. We're going to go and find them. Oh, that's lovely, Sam. So we'll post some more details about the Holistic Health Circle if you're interested in reading about that. We'd love to invite you to join us on moon ceremony, on yoga, on our higher awareness sessions. We've got a lovely one coming up this month on how to use essential oils for your health. And the following month, we're talking about morning routines, but we're actually going to change that. We're rebranding it. It's not morning routines. It's going to be morning rituals. We want you to do things that you devote yourself to and that feel really aligned, that you want to do. It's a ritual that you don't want to miss, not a routine that you feel that you have to keep up with. Anything else you want to wrap up with, Sarah?
No, just thank you for joining us, and don't forget, these masculine energies for the men in your life as well, for them to be feeling safe to step into their feminine energies, so that they can express their emotions, and that they can have downtime, and they can be nurtured as well as women stepping into their masculine energies. So, like I said at the beginning, it's a beautiful, nature has gifted us these beautiful equal opposite energies, and they both should be celebrated.
Yeah, it's such a lovely place to finish. And I think a lot of women could say, if it's men that they find attractive, that you want a strong man, but you do want him to be in touch with his emotions as well. So we like that within the opposite sex or within the same sex. Even if you're in a same sex relationship, you still need those like polarities between you. You need that masculine and feminine energies that you're stepping into at different times. So like Sarah said, thank you so much for joining us this morning, for spending some time with us. We hope this was helpful. If Sam's enjoying doing her cold showers, this is a subject that we're very, very much interested in, and we'd love to hear your comments on what you think about these masculine and feminine energies and where you are as well. So we will see you this time next week, and don't forget, Sarah has breathwork on Friday as usual. So see you there. Bye.
Bye.